from you. As L&D professionals as such, there's a divergence with respect to thinking and leaders. Some actually say that, certifications are not important, experience is more important. And some actually say that you need to have the certifications, you need to have a certain context and perspective as such. I wanted you to brief us, L&D professionals working for the lines of businesses, how these certifications actually help in understanding business learning needs well, and how they help learning consultants to do their job better.
And I get a lot of youngsters and mid-level professionals who reach out to me for advice or just help or suggestions or recommendations.
Yeah.
And the first thing they ask me is about, I think it will help if I do this certification, right? So my sincere and humble submission would be to say, great to have that certification. But if you think you're going to apply whatever you learned in that certification verbatim into the real world, it's not going to work. You'll be surprised.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The environment in the real world is different to what is taught in theory.
Yes, absolutely.
How do you take that knowledge, adapt it to the real-time environment, and be able to apply it? I think that is key.
Absolutely.
Paper certifications, paper degrees, very welcome, no doubt. It will probably strengthen your resume if somebody is looking at it. But at the end of the day, they are still going to ask you questions around that, and your ability to answer those questions and make sense for your work environment is going to be key. Absolutely. So that's my first recommendation to the youngsters. Sure. Second is, I go back to point one I mentioned. Understand your environment. You're not here. For example, when I joined one of my earlier organizations, I was just getting to know the environment and talking to my team and say what's going on and what are all the things that we do, etc. They had a very simple answer. All my questions were answered in 5 minutes. Because they just came up with a list of programs and say, we keep running these programs. This is technical, this is behavioral. So we have this list of programs. We keep going around asking everybody what programs you want every month, and we keep delivering them. I said, how has it made a difference? Have you been able to attract audiences to your program?
Yes.
Right? And have we had a chance to follow up on whether it was useful? Whom did we talk to, etc.? So the next obvious answer was that yes, we take a feedback at the end of each session.
Yes.
So that's a very standard approach. I didn't blame them because that's what they were exposed to.
Right.
And then, changing that perspective, right? And saying, this is not your job. This is only part of your job.
Yeah.
What is it that you're doing to the business? How are you impacting the business? So then my next set of questions to them was, so it was a manufacturing organization. So I said, which plants manufacture what products? Is there a differentiation? Or do all of them do everything?
Yeah.
Then if yes, our approach has to be different.
Yes.
So they had no answers. Right? I said, which part of the organization has more challenges that you've been hearing?
Yeah.
Is it a corporate, or is it one of the plants or all the plants? If yes, what cadre of employees, etc.
Yeah.
So it was an eye opener for them in the sense that these are strange questions coming from this guy. We have this list of programs. We just need to go deliver.
Yeah.
And so then we started going around, talking to plant heads, talking to business managers. And they said, well, honestly, nobody has ever asked this question, but yes, here is a laundry list of things that we are facing challenges with. I said, that's what we need to address.
Yeah.
So understanding the business, talking to your key stakeholders, first of all, knowing who your key stakeholders are, and understanding what their challenges are. I think that is a key piece of advice I would give to all the young aspiring learning and development professionals.
Great, Sanjay. Great inputs there.
Certifications only help you to some extent and degree. People don't hire you for your certificates.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right? And I'm very fortunate to work with organizations like Adobe. They've never looked at certifications. What you bring to the table is the competence.
Absolutely.
And for that matter, if you can exhibit competence in a conversation with Adobe folks, they would only peg you based on your competence internally. They would not say that, hey, you have only 3 years of experience, you've been only drawing 3 lakhs.
Right.
So I can give you 3.5 on the top of 3. Even if they were paying 10 lakhs internally for the kind of competence that you have exhibited, they will pay 10 lakhs and not 3.5 lakhs like many other organizations.
Right. Yeah.
So today's organizations are only paying you for your competence and not for the stereotypical measure of scaling your work based on number of years of experience or from school or college from where you have come from.
Yeah.
Right. And that is the direction many organizations have been taking.
Yeah. Firstly, Ravi, when you mention young L&D professionals, those two would never go together in the past. When I came into L&D, it was one of the prerequisites is that you should have gray hair. Only then you can give gyan to people. But now it's possible. So that's a very encouraging thing for young. We have hired fresh people from the college straight into L&D teams.
Great.
And that's possible. Right. And they stand with so much confidence in front of people and they teach. I think you should have that confidence. You have a lot to offer. Absolutely. A retired CEO once told me, he said, our culture should change. We should learn to touch the feet of these young professionals. And I gawked at him a little, incredulously. I was thinking, how can that be? He said, because they have the ability to learn. They have the confidence. They have that do it all, I can do attitude, which is great. Yeah. But coming more specifically to your questions, yes, there are certifications. You mentioned one institute in my introduction. Yeah. But then the ATD, and there are many certifications you can look for it, especially in instructional design. There's some fantastic certifications available. Yeah. But more important than that, you got to be a role model learner yourself. Right. And it took me a long time in my career to try cross-disciplinary learning. And that is the mantra. So there should never be a field which you say, no, that's not my forte. Right. And that thought should never come into you. You just gobble up learning. Now, everything is available at your fingertips. Knowledge is available. So you should be a chronic learner and an inveterate teacher. Yeah. And you'll hit the right formula if you do that. That's my advice to young professionals.
Thank you for asking that question. And also to put me on a spot by listing all the 9 certifications. So yes, I've been fairly intentional in adding those certifications. And I think the primary intent has always been to add to my craft, right? In terms of deepening my craft as well as increasing the depth and the breadth of what I can offer to my clients, right? So that being the primary motivation. So it directly impacts my competency as well as my confidence as an SME, right? Yeah. But having said that, I believe that certifications are a great way to build credibility with your client, right? So, so it does help to build that credibility with your client. And when you, it's a good entry point into a client engagement. They're already trusting you with a credible certification. So the journey becomes easier, and then, you know, you go on to do what you do the best. And for me personally, I think increasing the scope of my expertise has also helped me in my career. So I would add another C to the benefit of certification, which is career enhancement. So you be intentional in choosing what skills, what certification you're picking up, but it definitely enhances, you know, your own career path, your own diversification of your work. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good evening and welcome you.